Today, we're looking at something incredibly difficult. There are these rare, deeply disturbing testimonies coming out of Gaza, and they tell a story that goes way beyond the headlines of the conflict. It's about a hidden crisis, one where the price of just surviving is, well, it's unimaginable. Just listen to that. That's the proposition a woman says she heard from someone who was supposed to be helping her. It's a horrifying choice, isn't it? This is the reality we're exploring today, pieced together from accounts gathered by outlets like Jasser News and reported in the Daily Mail. It's a story about what happens when people are at their most desperate. So, in the middle of this massive humanitarian crisis, the fight for a piece of bread or a bottle of water, it creates these huge vulnerabilities. Let's dig into the grim reality that the most desperate people are facing. When civil systems just fall apart, the people who control and hand out aid suddenly have immense power. And according to these reports, some individuals tied to Hamas are apparently using that power as a weapon against women, demanding sexual favors just for basic necessities. You know, to really understand the human costs of all this, we have to look at one person's story. So we're going to talk about the testimony of a woman. We'll call her Noor. Her account makes this whole crisis chillingly personal. Noor's situation is tragically not unique. She was displaced by the war, she's divorced, and she's trying to care for her 4 children. She found herself completely shut out of the official aid systems. So, completely desperate, she went to a local Islamic charity, just hoping for some kind of lifeline. And in her own words, she met a man who looked like a religious authority figure, a sheikh. He actually promised he would help her. Can you imagine the relief? She said she saw him as a father figure, someone she could finally trust. But that little bit of hope it turned into fear, and fast. Instead of getting a call about food or supplies, she started getting these harassing messages. He'd taken her number, supposedly to help, but instead, he used it to suggest an intimate video call late at night. In an instant, it went from help to predation. And this is the moment that says everything. When Noor stood up to him, when she threatened to expose him, his answer was just a chilling claim of total power. I am the government here. That one sentence tells you everything you need to know about the fear and the control at play. Noor's story is absolutely horrifying, but the sources we're looking at suggest that she is not alone, not by a long shot. This seems to be part of a much wider systemic pattern of abuse. 60,000. Aid organizations on the ground in Gaza estimate that as many as 60,000 women are at risk of this exact kind of exploitation. I mean, that number is just staggering. It tells you this isn't about a few bad apples. It points to a systemic crisis. And there are other stories that back this up. One witness talked about seeing a widow assaulted by Hamas operatives and then being threatened to keep quiet. Another person said their neighbor was asked for sex in exchange for a food voucher. And get this, even a Hamas member himself claimed he tried to report the abuse of martyrs' wives to his bosses, but was just told to shut up and drop it. This quote from an elderly woman in Gaza, it just cuts right to the heart of it. It's about exploiting absolute, total desperation. When you are literally fighting for a single grain of rice, you become incredibly vulnerable to anyone who controls the food supply. So, if all this is happening, you have to be asking, right? Why aren't we hearing more about it? Well, this next part is about the powerful forces that are keeping these stories buried in the shadows. There are basically 2 giant walls of silence. First, there's the very real fear of the regime. I mean, we saw it in Noor's testimony. The predators are connected to Hamas, the ruling power, so if you speak out, you risk retaliation. And second, there's this deep, deep social stigma where the shame of a sexual assault is so often put on the victim, not the attacker, which forces women and their families to just stay silent. A Gazan author, Hamza Quaidi, he puts it plainly. He says shame is a powerful silencer. And he explains it's not just about widows, but any woman who's forced to ask for help, which automatically makes her vulnerable in a society that might see her situation as shameful. And look, the danger is just as real for the people trying to tell these stories. A journalist who goes by Abdullah, who helped get these testimonies out, he's now in hiding because armed men came looking for him. He got death threats just for daring to bring this stuff to light. And that silence, it seems to go all the way to the international level. The Daily Mail specifically reached out to UN Women. That's the part of the United Nations whose entire job is gender equality and empowering women. And when they were asked to comment on these specific allegations, the paper reported they got no response. Just silence. Okay, so let's try to pull all of these pieces together. What are we supposed to take away from these absolutely harrowing accounts? Here's the bottom line. While the world's eyes are on one conflict, another, much more intimate war is being fought against women. It's a war that's not being fought with bombs, but with bags of flour and packets of sugar. Desperation is the weapon, and silence is the shield that protects the people doing this. And that leaves us with one final haunting question. It's not just a question for the people in Gaza, but really for all of us. When the victims are trapped between the shame from their own society and threats from the regime, who is left to speak for them? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining us.